The whole world is watching us and understands what is going on, but who is calling out in the UK? Arguably, two of the most influential men in Joe Rogan and Elon Musk sat down and spoke at length in a podcast. They spoke about a lot of things, including that sad state of affairs that is the UK. They spoke of how our government are tyrannical. In today's video, we will watch and react to the clip, whilst also going over all of the latest news from up and down the country. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and join our fast-growing community. So, as stated in the intro, Elon Musk was on Joe Rogan yesterday and spoke about our tyrannical government. Have a watch.
Easy for people to hear because they think about gun violence and gun problems and gun this and gun that, but that's the reality of the world that we live in, is that tyranny is possible and it exists other places, and it's slowly existing. It's slowly rearing its head in the UK. You're seeing, I think the number of people that have been arrested for just social media posts is bananas. It's in the thousands.
Yes, several thousand people have been given prison sentences in the UK for social media posts where there was no explicit link to actual violence, but they just said it encouraged violence. I'm like, well, did anyone actually do anything as a result of that media post? Well, no. But they're just, and then they have a prison overcrowding situation in the UK, so they're quite literally releasing convicted pedophiles and putting people in jail for Facebook posts. That's an actual thing happening in Britain.
That is so wild.
Like you're like,
it's so wild that people can't see
what the fuck, is going on?
And
this is not the first time Rogan spoke of the ongoings in Britain, and a couple months ago he said this.
Just terrible government overreach. You're seeing it now in England, where people are getting arrested for tweets.
Yeah. Well,
England, people talk about Soviet Russia, like how bad Russia is in terms of cracking down on thought police and cracking down on bad tweets and things like that. I think the statistics are, I think England I think there's something like 4,000 people have been arrested in England for thought crimes, where they've said things online that people find to be a hateful thing or a problematic thing. And I think it's only 200 in Russia.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe in Russia they're too scared to do it at all.
Could be. Yeah. But the fact that they're comfortable with finding people who've said something that they disagree with and putting them in a fucking cage in England in 2024 is really wild.
Yeah.
Especially they're saying you can get arrested just for retweeting.
This is what people had to say. This user said, "Is there any politician in their UK who is talking about this very concerning fact?" The answer is no. The UK is an embarrassment under this fascist government. This user said, "The UK is effectively a Soviet country rebadged for the 21st century. I fear we're heading, with Canada, towards a China social credit system model." Positive said, "There's nothing slow about the onset of tyranny in the UK. It's galloping at pace." What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments. In some other news, farmers have threatened to coordinate a sewage sludge strike after the Chancellor outlined plans to impose inheritance tax on their properties. Many took to online forums to form the plot in the hope that the strike would impact the UK's water companies, leading to a build-up of waste across the country. Produced by extracting liquid from human waste, biosolids, otherwise known as sewage sludge, are extremely effective fertilizers used by farmers. In a mutually beneficial exchange, farmers filter 3.6 million tons of sewage sludge out of water treatment plants each year, spreading it across their land. This arrangement has meant that water companies have saved on the cost of disposal, as well as improved their environmental impact. However, farmers across online forums have discussed the possibility of a sewage strike, which would cause water companies to have to find other more costly ways of disposing of the waste, the Telegraph has reported. This news has followed widespread fears that Reeves's new inheritance tax raid would trigger a mental health crisis across the sector. Expressing their distaste for Reeves's budget, a farmer from Dartmoor shared online, "If you truly want to be seen to put your children's futures first, then now this week is the time to phone your sludge supplier, put a temporary halt on all deliveries." NFU President Tom Bradshaw has confirmed that the union received calls from senior farmers who expressed fears that they had now become a burden on their families, who would be left with unpayable bills after their death. Chairman of the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs Committee, Alistair Carmichael, said, "The impression I get from government ministers is that they think that the outrage that is felt by farmers about this issue is confected. The very fact a sewage strike is being considered shows how deep that anger is." Insisting that the government's commitment to the country's farmers is steadfast, a government spokesman said, "We understand concerns about changes to agricultural property relief, and the DEFRA Secretary of State and Exchequer Secretary to the Treasury met with NFU President Tom Bradshaw today." Ministers made clear that the vast majority of those claiming relief will not be affected by these changes. They will be able to pass the family farm down to their children, just as previous generations have always done. This is a fair and balanced approach that protects the family farm, while also fixing the public services that we all rely on. We remain committed to working with the NFU and listening to farmers. Lastly, Prince William's latest olive branch towards Prince Harry has been dismissed by a royal commentator who claimed the two feuding brothers couldn't be further apart. The Prince of Wales and the Duke of Sussex have been estranged since Harry departed from the royal family in 2020, and his subsequent public attacks against the firm. William and Harry's frosty relationship was evident during their attendance at their late uncle, Lord Fellowes's, funeral earlier in the summer. The two brothers reportedly did not exchange a single word. However, William recently mentioned his younger brother for the first time in years when he appeared in a new ITV documentary about homelessness. Many royal watchers branded it a possible olive branch between the two princes. However, a royal author dismissed those claims and said William's mention of Harry was not a major breakthrough. Phil Dampier told The Sun, "Was going on about their childhood when Diana took them to various charities, and so he had to mention. It's as simple as that. It would have been a snub if he hadn't. I don't see it as any sort of major breakthrough, I'm afraid, in their relationship, which is sadly as far apart as ever." Elsewhere, Dampier told the outlet the prince's mother, the late Princess Diana, would be devastated over them not working together on a project so close to her heart. He said, "I'm sure Diana would be obviously devastated to see what's happened between the two brothers. She'd obviously be very upset to see that they've drifted apart so much and have fallen out so badly. They both could have done so much good for something which she was very anxious for them to do, and so I'm sure she'd be absolutely devastated." What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British political content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.